It's episode 9, and this week it's all about filling in the blanks. There's news about the iPhone's first full 3D skateboarding game, a very interesting rumour concerning a certain sandbox franchise, and some video of the hotly anticipated disco shooter Strike.One. All that plus reviews of Monospace, Toy Tanks 3D and Hellfire. So grab a big black felt tip and get ready to score off some high-ranking entries in your iPhone wishlist. If Space Invaders crossed with a thumping techno nightclub sounds like a dreamy combination to you, then Strike.One will have you waving your glow sticks and jumping for joy. Visually, the game is looking like an extremely high-grade effort, and the top-down shooting action will hopefully make an ideal fit for the iPhone's large touchscreen. The idea is that the ship you control is a hacker trying to worm into a network while the system admin throws out waves of replicants, trace routes, turrets and the dreaded black ice virus to try and stop you. Sounds like merry mischief indeed. A review is on its way. There has been a juicy rumour floating around the interwebs this week about Rockstar's uber-successful GTA series making its way over to the iPhone. This has of course prompted pundits everywhere to surmise that the forthcoming GTA Chinatown Wars for the Nintendo DS is up for the port treatment. Though it's not impossible that Rockstar might look to the iPhone for a GTA game one day, something tells us the company will play it safe and wait to see how its franchise performs on the DS before having a go on another handheld platform. It's also safe to assume that if the iPhone GTA rumour turns out to be true, a tailor-made iPhone game is much more likely. We've got our fingers crossed for this one, but don't go holding your breath just yet. The 3D skateboarding game formula hasn't really managed to ollie onto the iPhone platform without bailing yet, and Fuel Industries look set to rectify the situation with a new Vans-branded effort. The only info so far is contained in this here test demo of the game, which looks more than competent even at this early stage. More on this as soon as we have it, folks.
There's no denying that helicopters are macho, and Hellfire revels in the age-old gaming philosophy that big guns are cool and blowing stuff up is clever. Upon loading the game, you're treated to a gorgeous animated loading screen, which sets the tone for the extremely polished game that follows. Once in the pilot seat, the controls come naturally. You tip forwards and backwards to accelerate and slow down, while tilting left and right handles the direction. A small altimeter is positioned on the left to control height. The helicopters, however, can't climb very high, and the majority of missions are focused on ground warfare, giving the impression that you're piloting a tank. This limits the mission structure, which generally involves taking out different groups of enemies, including other helicopters, gun turrets, tanks and warships, and then ferrying any rescued prisoners of war back to base. In spite of this, the raw shoot-'em-up gameplay is enormous fun, and the top-quality presentation keeps the experience airborne. A few extra tweaks to the flying mechanics allowing for more varied missions would do Hellfire a big favour, but as a no-nonsense shooter, Hellfire is truly hot stuff.
Toy Tanks 3D talks tough with its plot concerning the nefarious dictator Yusuf al-Fattal, but while it sounds like a serious dust-up, it's really more of an adorable romp. Manning an on-rails tank, your task is to target and dispatch all the enemy turrets, tanks and warships that line the way. You can choose between tilt or touch controls for aiming, and there is a small fire button on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen for shelling the stuffing out of your plush and colourful cartoon foes. By default, you shoot basic rounds, but you can also collect special homing shells found in scattered wooden crates to boost your offensive capability. Beginning with a beachhead assault and ending with a blitz on a desert fortress, Toy Tanks 3D spans 9 fairly easy levels. There are 3 boss battles to take on 2, which do little to up the challenge but do help vary the action. It's a great looking title with a bold, sharp palette that really pops on the iPhone screen, and the cartoon presentation is pleasant and polished throughout. Sadly, it's all over far too quickly, and you can blaze your way to the end in an hour or so. It may not offer value for money then, but ultimately, Toy Tanks 3D is an enjoyable and beautifully presented blast of cartoon artillery capers for the iPhone.
You don't always need to think outside the box. Sometimes reinventing it through brave revisionism is more than enough, and that's exactly what minimalist puzzler Monospace achieves. Like the ancient game Soccer Band from which Monospace takes its inspiration, your goal lies in manoeuvring a box in enclosed spaces. Using the blue box, the objective is to clear all the white cubes in the level. You're only able to move the blue box when a white box sits adjacent to it. It's not that straightforward, however, as black boxes block movement and red cubes push your blue box forward in extra space. Working around these hazards is challenging enough, but Monospace complicates matters further by adding a third dimension. Flicking a finger across the screen rotates the level in the corresponding direction, whilst a double tap collapses the stage into a 2D image. By changing the perspective, Monospace transforms simple puzzles into complex, mind-bending spatial riddles. The lack of music creates an uncomfortably silent game space, and some minimalist electronica would have made a perfect accompaniment. Otherwise, Monospace presents a simple set of rules for the benefit of a broad and taxing challenge that's lots of fun to play.
Thanks for watching the Pocket Gamer iPhone Gaming Podcast. If you're looking for more iPhone gaming news, reviews and features, you can download the Pocket Gamer iPhone application from the App Store. Or just point your Safari browser at www.pocketgamer.co.uk/iPhone. Better still, why not subscribe to this very podcast, which can be found under Games and Hobbies in the podcast section of iTunes. That's it for now, so until next time, happy Pocket Gaming.